My name is Frida Fagerlund. I'm a football journalist from Sweden originally, but I live in the UK. So I cover the Premier League mostly during season, and then I obviously cover the national teams at the World Cup and the Euros and so on. So there's a mix of both, and women's football as well.
Cool. So, how would you say this World Cup's being anticipated by Swedish fans?
Well, we're all very surprised it was, even there. Obviously, we've been quite lucky to get to the World Cup this time around. I don't think anyone is sad about that, particularly. It was an amazing game against Poland that determined everything, and it almost makes it better, if you know what I mean. Like the fact that we just lost hope completely, and then we end up going anyway. I think everyone is just enjoying themselves right now and really looking forward to a summer where you can watch in front of the TV. We'll see how many fans will get to the US, and the rest of North America. It's not exactly cheap, is it?
No.
So it's gonna take quite a lot of money for people to actually be able to get there. But yeah, everyone is so happy.
So I tend to find that there's a difference between how fans anticipate things and how journalists anticipate things. There tends to be a bit of pessimism with how the team is lined up. Are we in the right moment? All that kind of stuff. So, how's the Swedish media? I'm sure it's more. Is it more grim, or is it equally as kind of just happy to be there?
Yeah, I think it's mostly just happy to be there, if I'm being completely honest. We are in a quite a strong group, I would say, with the Netherlands and Japan being our main competitors, and then obviously Tunisia as well. So the first game against Tunisia will absolutely be key, for whether Sweden can actually progress to the next stage. Um, yeah, I mean, right now we do know that we have really good players. Like we have a really great generation. It's just that we've been through this really dark period. And we know that. We haven't forgotten about that. So we realize that it's going to take quite a lot for Sweden to do really, really well or to get really far. But you never know. And what we saw against Poland in that playoff final was at least a collective, a group that really worked as a unit. And I think that's absolutely key to do well at the World Cup.
What would you say is the overall condition of Swedish football? Is it in a healthy place? Is it in a not so healthy place? Like, how would you judge it?
Well, on a national, in terms of the national team, like I said, we were very, very poor in the qualifiers. And I would say that around in October, November last year, we were really, really discouraged about our future and the fact that we haven't done very well, and no one really seemed to know how to get out of that. But then the national coach was sacked, Graham Potter came in, and ever since, at least, we've kind of found a way again. I mean, Sweden are known for being a team who, we defend very well. We're playing a 4-4-2 usually. We kind of lost that over the past few years, but I feel like we found our way again. So yeah, let's see if that helps us at the World Cup.
Um, let's just talk about qualification then. So, how exactly did you guys pull this off?
Well, it's actually thanks to the Nations League. I didn't think I would say that because I wasn't particularly keen on Nations League when it first came around and was first introduced. But yeah, it definitely saved us. So we came, did we come last in our qualified group? I think so. We didn't take a lot of points, at least. Lost to Kosovo twice. It was horrendous. But yeah, because of this Nations League's win a couple of years ago, that because of that, we got a place in the playoff, and we were actually quite lucky with the draw as well. So we got Ukraine away, and obviously Ukraine can't play in Ukraine because of the war. So we ended up playing in Spain, and I think that was an advantage to us. At least it was like a neutral pitch, and and then we obviously had Poland at home. And it was a sold out crowd. So everyone was really, really excited. So I definitely think that helped us, to seal this spot.
How's the form been since the qualification? So, obviously, you qualify, and then, well, actually, you guys were doing the playoff. So, did you guys have any friendlies, or what are the scheduled friendlies to come? Do you know?
So we're playing Norway ahead of
Okay.
the World Cup, which makes sense. Our neighbours, and it's also a very strong team. So I think it's yeah, it will be interesting to see how what it will look like. And you have to remember as well, like Sweden have had quite a few injuries. So Alexander Isak, for example, he's just come back, so he will be included in the squad, hopefully, if he's fit enough. So yeah, we also have Dejan Kulusevski. He's one of our biggest leaders, and I'm not sure about his status. I don't think anyone is really, but I'm sure he will probably be in the squad. I'm not sure how much he will actually play, but I think he's a really important leader just to have, a voice in the dressing room.
Let's talk about Graham Potter then. So, who was the guy before, and what was going so wrong with him that Graham Potter needed to come in? And then, what has he done for the team?
Well, the guy before was Danish, and I'm mentioning that because it's relevant to this, to this whole chapter of the Sweden national team. So Jon Dahl Tomasson came in, and it didn't really work out. I mean, at the start, I guess the some promising signs, but eventually we just all ended up being really miserable. Like both him and the players and the Sweden fans, everything was just nothing was working really. And I think the problem is, like I said previously, that we've kind of found a way again, or we've been going back to our DNA. I do think we lost something when we tried to do a bit too much with this golden generation, so to speak. Like we tried to play a very attacking football, and it was all supposed to be really fun and so on, but it just didn't work. So he definitely needed to leave. There was I can imagine like the last few weeks it can't have been easy for him either, because people were just so upset and just really want to see him gone. And then Graham Potter comes in, and he's a completely different personality. He's very much an adopted Swede as well. So I think the fact that he's foreign didn't really matter, because he's got so much experience, and he's got so much experience of Swedish football as well, and he speaks the language. So those were the main the main reasons why people were quite joyous and keen on for him to join us.
Have you noticed anything he's doing differently? So, is he going 4-4-3? Like, what is he trying to implement on the team that's maybe different from our Danish homie?
He's been quite flexible, to be honest. He played a three at the back against Ukraine and Poland, so he hasn't really kept to one system or one formation. But I think what is quite important on a national team level is that you can't really give the players too much details. It has to be quite basic. It has to be quite simple for them to just slot in and just do the job. And I think Graham Potter has done absolutely that. And then we have this psychological aspects of everything. I feel like the players are more comfortable playing under him. I feel like they are more joyous, and it sounds really, like a cliche to even say that, oh, happy players play better in general. But I truly believe that they do. And if you're going to fight for your team, you kind of want to fight for your national coach as well. And it really feels like they really like him.
So let's get into some of the maybe star names that the team has. Let's go with Victor Gyökeres. What moment do you think he's in?
He's having a great moment right now. I mean, I know it's been ups and downs at Arsenal. He's scoring goals at least, so that is great to see. But at least in terms of the games against Ukraine and Poland, I feel like he really stepped up, and he scored some incredibly important goals, 3 against Ukraine and 1 against Poland. So yeah, he's very much having a moment. I feel like he has increased in popularity with the Swedish people, which is really good to see. And in a way, I think that's going to help Alexander Isak as well, because a lot of the pressure is always on him to do something. Like, he's the star player, he's our biggest talent. But I think it's quite good that we do have several players that can actually, take on that responsibility. So yeah, Gyökeres will be very important for us at World Cup.
Is Elanga as important as he seems for the Swedish national team? Like, just a player that gives dynamism, very quick, very fast. Like, what does he provide for the team, you think?
Yeah, I feel quite sorry for Elanga, to be fair, because I just feel like there is a great footballer in him, and I do think that he's got qualities that are very, very useful. Not the least his pace. I feel like his touch has sometimes not been the greatest over the season, and I'm not sure if that's like a confidence thing, perhaps, in terms of him not playing that much at Newcastle either. But yeah, he scored a brilliant goal against Poland, and that is exactly what we want to see. And he's just such a great guy as well. So he's one of those players who I think probably provides quite a lot in the dressing room with, joking around and just making everyone in a good mood. So yeah, he does play a lot. He has played quite a lot under Graham Potter, and I do think he is very useful, especially when you can use his pace and he can run behind the back line.
So correct me if I'm wrong. It does feel as if Sweden is kind of top heavy, where you have Jokeres, Elanga. If Kulishevsky's going to be on the plane, he's there. Isak at the back. Is it as strong? Because the name I'm thinking of is Lindelof. But like, do you guys have defenders?
Um, I mean, we do, of course, but like you say, that's always been the main issue with this golden generation: the fact that we lack some defenders. I would say though, if we play three at the back, we do have some very good wing backs. Actually, not the least Gabriel Gudmundsson, who is doing great at least at the moment. Watched the game Leeds versus Man United at Old Trafford the other day, and he was just absolutely superb. So yeah, he's having a great moment. I think he will be very important for us, especially if we play a three at the back. Lindelöf, yes, of course, he's got all this experience. That is very important. Isak Hien unfortunately got injured against Ukraine. Otherwise, he would have started against Poland. But Karl Starfelt, who came on, I wouldn't say that he did a perfect game against Poland, but he's had a pretty good season at Celta Vigo in La Liga. So yeah, of course we do have defenders. It's just they're not on that top level compared to our attacking players.
All right. So the pink elephant in the room is the health status of Alexander Isak. We saw him yesterday. We're taping this on April 15th. We saw him against Liverpool. We saw him against PSG. Sorry for Liverpool. He didn't look that great. Obviously, he's getting back into it. What are you expecting from him in maybe a month or two from now? Do you think he'll get back to it, or is it just kind of a wait and see kind of thing?
Yeah, I guess we just have to wait and see. He will probably play a lot more now that Ekitike is injured, unfortunately, and will be out of the rest of the season. I thought it was quite a weird decision from Arne Slot to start Isak in that game. I feel like, if he knows that he's just going to give him 45 minutes, it's quite weird to do it in like that way around and not just letting him come on in the second half. So yeah, I feel like that was a bit unfair on him, but yeah, I just hope that he gets his confidence back. I think that's what we've seen all season. He obviously had a very disrupted pre-season with everything that went down at Newcastle and then him leaving for Liverpool eventually. He's just had so much pressure on his shoulder, and obviously Liverpool have been dysfunctional. I mean, it's not because of Isak mainly; it's because of a lot of different factors. So hopefully Isak will play now for the rest of this season. Yeah, and get back to fitness at least, so he'll be able to play quite a lot for Sweden at World Cup.
Is there anyone outside the Premier League that you're maybe keeping tabs on that like, ooh, this guy looks like he's in good form, maybe in the Swedish league or maybe the other four big leagues?
Yeah, I mean, Benjamin Nygren has had a great season for Celtic in the Scottish League. But I would say also that a player that I feel like is usually overlooked and who actually plays in the Premier League is Yasin Ayari, who's at Brighton. He's had a great season. I don't think people really talk about him that much because he plays at Brighton, and unfortunately they don't get that much coverage. But I feel like that is a player who will probably start and will probably do well. I feel like he provides something for us that is like, that I'm not going to compare him to Pirlo because that's not really fair on him. But yeah, you just need someone who can do that magic every now and then, and I definitely feel like Yasin is that person.
Let's get to the prediction part of this particular section of the podcast. What is Sweden's floor and what is their ceiling at this particular World Cup? Obviously, it's a very difficult group. So being grouped is maybe the floor, but like, what do you think their ceiling is?
That is a very hard question to answer, mainly because we do have players, obviously, that can, score those goals and do those things that other players with less quality can't. So that is something that it's a great advantage to Sweden. But yeah, in terms of the actual football, I don't think it will look pretty, and I don't want it to look pretty either. I just want them to stay organized and just do the hard work and then just hope for the best, get the ball up to Victor Gyökeres. Just a very simplistic game plan. And if they do that, and if they keep defending pretty well, I mean, I do think they defended pretty well against Ukraine and Poland, then yeah, I mean, why not? Why couldn't Sweden progress from the group and maybe win one game, hopefully thereafter? I mean, it's so hard to say, isn't it? And I think, it will depend on a lot of different factors. But yeah, they don't have any pressure on them right now. They can just go.
I was gonna ask that. Like the way that they got in, it's almost a free hit. So I was wondering, like, what does success, or is there pressure to succeed? But maybe there's no pressure at all.
I don't think so. And if you think back, I mean, this is obviously a completely different example, but I'm thinking about when Denmark, when they got to go to the Euros in 1992, because a free spot just came up, and they won the whole tournament. I mean, it was a long time ago, but I like you say, I think when you don't have that pressure at all on your shoulders, you can just play a bit more freely. So hopefully that is exactly what Sweden will do, and then we'll just see what happens.
Who's your pick to win the World Cup?
For me, it's Spain, and yeah, I think a lot of people will probably predict that Spain will at least be one of the massive favorites to win, and it's mainly because they just have the style of play, and I think that's so important when it comes to national teams. The fact that they don't really spend that much time together, so it's a huge advantage for them that they actually have the philosophy almost like in the DNA. They've been playing like that for their whole lives. So yeah, that is why I'm saying Spain. They were brilliant at the Euros, so they were well-deserved winners. But yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Cool. Last question. Is there anything I haven't asked about Sweden, national team, football culture, anything like that you find particularly interesting, funny, novel, that you think people should know or might want to know?
I don't know, really. Maybe that we are quite proud of our highest division, Allsvenskan. It's definitely not the greatest league in the world. Far from it. We can't really compete with other European leagues, but we're very proud of the fact that we have the 51% rule, which means that 51% of a club must be owned by the fans or the members, club members. We also have great atmospheres at our games. So yeah, that is a league that we take a lot of pride in, despite the league not really being able to compete with the bigger ones in Europe.
Cool. All right, Frida, I really appreciate you taking the time to do this. Where can people follow you?
If
you want to be followed.
If I want to be followed. Well, I'm on Twitter, and I'm on, if we call it Twitter, we don't, X. I'm on X, and I'm on Instagram. So I think my name is unique enough. so it would probably be easy to find me.
I really appreciate you taking the time. Thank you for doing this.
Thank you for having me on.
I'm Arafat Hamrouni from Tunisia. I'm a sports journalist. I work in Food24, which is, let's say, the leader of the digital media in Tunisia with 3 million followers. Tunisia is 12 million people, so we can't have maybe 25%. And that's it. It's 12 years of work, 12 years since I started this career, actually.
Cool.
I
So how's
started
this?
in, yeah,
No,
go
no, no.
ahead.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so actually I started in 2014, so 12 years in foot 24.
Cool. So how's this World Cup being anticipated by Tunisian fans?
Tunisian fans are really waiting forward for this World Cup. We Tunisians are used to participate in this competition. It's not our first time. Uh, Tunisia has traditions in the World Cup. We've been the first African and Arab nation to win a match, to win a World Cup match in '78. And we've been participating in the last two editions in Russia and Qatar. So it's not a surprise to see Tunisia in the World Cup. We used to participate in this competition, and especially with this new format of 48 teams. So you have more chances to participate in the World Cup. And then the way we qualified to the World Cup is the most interesting, with 10 clean sheets, with nine wins. So the way we qualified to the World Cup was kind of brilliant and was kind of satisfying for the big audience. And then came the Arab Cup, and then came the African Cup, when the results was really catastrophic, and the audience, the people were kind of doubting about the team. And then we have another change that happened, which is the new coach, Sabri Lamouchi, and the new generation. So now Tunisians are kind of mixed between optimistic fans who've seen their team qualifying with 10 clean sheets and who are used to participate in the World Cup. And also there are fans who are kind of doubting about the team, new players, new coach, new tactical approach. So it's kind of 50-50.
Is the media maybe more pessimistic or optimistic about all these different changes, or does it kind of follow the fans being more 50-50?
The media has nothing to do with that, especially when you have a new coach, because the new coach started in the last transfer, in the last FIFA window, so you cannot judge him now. He has only two games against Haiti and Canada, so these games are not really against serious opponents. With all respect to the teams, but it's not Nigeria. It's not tough teams that you can judge. You see, here Tunisia has good defense, or here Tunisia has a good attack. So we cannot judge, and the media now is still waiting for the May and June preparation. We have two extra friendly match and maybe third friendly match before the World Cup, and I think that. The media and the audience, the supporters, are both of them waiting for the two next friendly match against Austria and Belgium. So the level is higher, and the new players, it will be their second meet. So everyone is waiting for the June friendlies. Actually, we cannot judge.
All right. So I've been asking people this question: what is the, or how would you assess the condition of Tunisian football, both domestically and its ability to export players? Is it in a healthy place, or is it a not so healthy place relative to its own standard?
Yeah. So in the beginning of the 2000s, so talking from 2000 to 2010, we all know that Tunisia was kind of bridge to the Europe. So the African group players, for example, the sub-Saharan players, they were going to the Tunisian league, as it was the best in North Africa at that time, to go and play in France, Italy, and so on. Now it's not the case for several reasons. So we had actually the revolution. We have the economic crisis. Most of the traditional big teams in Tunisia are suffering with economic crisis, as Etoile du Sahel, Club Africa, who is not not really that stable. So maybe the only team that has good conditions and that has good budgets to go and compete for the African competitions now is Esperance. So talking about the domestic league and the domestic football nowadays, we can see that it's a gap actually between the domestic football. We as Tunisians, what are we proposing as academic training, as the players who go to play in Europe? What quality have we in our league? The foreign players, the local players. So the quality is not really good. Um, and we have a national team who is built with players who are born and raised in Europe and trained and get skilled a little bit in the European teams. So you see the gap between domestic football and the national team. But something to say that uh, even though Tunisia now cannot really export many players in the European League, but we see some good players and we still have some good talents in the youth players in U20, for example. For example, now we have a player who plays in Club Africa in domestic league in the U20 team who will go for a try in Bayern Munich. We have also another player who plays also in Club Africa who is who will go maybe to do a trial in Ajax Amsterdam. So we still have some traditions and some talent, even though the conditions are not the best now, and even though there is a big economic crisis that maybe lower a little bit the standards of the youth academies in Tunisia. Because if you want to talk about the domestic football, systematically you will talk about the academic training. So the conditions are not the best, but we still have good some gems, like we say, some magic is.
So let's get into qualifying. Who was in the qualifying group? And as you say, they almost did it perfectly.
actually, actually, there's a problem with the qualifying group, qualifying groups of the World Cup, and I think that before we talk about the qualifiers, and I think that the qualification and the qualifiers for the World Cup could mistake many teams that participated then in the African Cup, because Tunisia, for example, we played against Sao Tome, against Namibia, against Gambia, I think. So these kind of teams cannot really represent the level you will face in the African Cup. You see, and that's what happened to Tunisia. Doing 10 clean sheet against these teams, it was a group of six, right? So, yeah, normally, yes, 10 games. So, group of six. So, also Guinea Equatorial, it was in the same group. So, these are four teams, and the fifth teams, I really forgot about it, but it was really like the same level. Botswana, I think. Um, so it was kind of the same level. Maybe with Guinea Equatorial, it was a little bit advantage compared to the other teams. And then they had the problem with the FIFA and the 6 points reduced. But the level of the group did not reflect the real level of the African football, or did not reflect at least the level that we found in the group stage at the African Nations Cup against Nigeria, Uganda. So that's the problem, actually.
So to just nail down the point again. So the friendlies that are upcoming against Austria and Belgium, you think are going to be the main things that tell us where this Tunisia team is?
Yes, yes. I think that it will say many things about the future of the national team, even after the World Cup, because now we have a new generation, we have new players, the new coach really brought new players that they were, like I said, born and raised in Europe, and even we have players who were at the domestic league, like Khalil Ayari, and then went to play in Europe. He plays now in PSG in the second team. So new players and new coach and maybe new tactics. The first two matches are not enough to figure it. So I think that we have to wait for the Austria and Belgium friendlies to see a little bit clearer. to see a little bit clearer.
So, uh, Lamouchi, I think is the new coach.
Yeah, exactly.
It's too early, perhaps, for me to ask what's the style, what's the tactic of play, how are people feeling about him. But what's the anticipation about what he should bring to the team?
Let's talk about the previous coach before Lamouchi, because if we talk about the expectations, let's talk about what happened. Actually, what happened is that the Tunisian team didn't show offensive play in the Arab Cup and in the Nations Cup. And the problem, yeah, and with Sami Trabelsi, Tunisia was defensively good. We were really good. We did a draw against Brazil with all its stars. We did brilliant results, and defensively we were great. But at the time when we should go forward and when we should try to score goals and try to create danger, like they say, against Mali, for example, or even against Nigeria, and sometimes also at the Arab League. At the times when we should go forward and attack, that didn't happen. So the people now are waiting, are expecting from Sabri Lamouchi to bring offensive play like he did in Ivory Coast, uh, and to also bring new players that could contribute to make this uh, Tunisian national team more dangerous and more offensive. We have new players. We have Tunekti, for example, who plays in Celtic. He's a good player and he started the game. He's not used to start games. We have also Khalil Ayari who showed big performance against Haiti and Canada. Also, we have Shawat, who is the top scorer of the league. So we have good offensive players. But what didn't happen in the at the Arab Cup and the African Nations Cup, that the coach didn't know how to use this offensive potential. So what people are expecting from Sabri Lamouchi now is to know how to exploit and how to use these offensive cards.
Cool. So let's talk about some of the names that people may know. Obviously, Hannibal Mejbri is an obvious one. Ali Abdi. Who
Yeah.
are some names that people may know or may not know, and are they in good moments? You think to perform well in North America?
Actually, Hannibal is always at the same level in the national team, at least. I'm not talking about the Burnley side. Adil Abdi, he knows a little bit of draw. So maybe we'll see other options coming out in the next matches. Maybe we have some good left back, and also there are other players. Talking about Tunekti especially, I think that it's time for him to shine really, because he plays in a good league, in a competitive league. He plays in Scottish league, plays with a big team with big heritage, which is Celtic. So he's shown big games and big performances. So I think that Tunekti would be the next maybe star of the national Tunisian team. What else? That's it. That's it. So I think that Tunisi should really take the lights in Mexico and the United States. Khalil Ayari also, he's a good player. He plays in second team in PSG. Ilyes Saad. These players maybe are not really known about the big audience, but I can tell that these players with Ashuri also in Copenhagen, I can tell that these players could be real surprises at the World Cup.
Has the qualification helped maybe get some of those diaspora players into the fold since qualification, or is the team more or less set?
In the qualification, we've seen Ilyes Saad. Ilyes Saad scored, I think, 5 goals, 4 goals in the qualification. So besides Ilyes Saad, we've seen also Ismail Harbi. So these two players. And then for Tuniti, he wasn't always at the team, first of all, and then he wasn't always starting the games. and even there were games where he didn't even participate. So Tuneti is the new era actually. Tuneti, Khalil Hayai, most of the European players, European born and raised players that play with the national team now came after the African Cup.
Okay.
Rani Khedira as midfielder, Tunetsi also. So even if they were there as a team, but they don't have the same importance now. Maybe now they are more important, and maybe now they have another level of the national team.
Do fans care about maybe players not being from Tunisia specifically, but they have Tunisian heritage, obviously, so they're Tunisian, but they're not from the country. Like, does that matter, or is it just win at all costs and get the best players? And if the best players are from Europe, so be it.
No, it has never been a problem for the Tunisian fans. We Tunisia, we have a big diaspora, and we have many people who live in Europe and in America, in Canada, and United States. So we are used to it. We know that these players are Tunisian, and we know that these players uh, maybe don't have at 100%. Maybe some of them doesn't have the culture or the heritage, but it's okay. It's okay. We know that these players, at the moment they accepted to join the national team, they are Tunisians, and at the moment their father or mother uh, brought them to the national team, they are Tunisians like the domestic players. And
Um,
and we have and we have this heritage. For example, if we excuse me, if you talk, for example, about the 2014 who won the African Cup and who went to participate to the World Cup of Germany. So most of them are European players, are players who are born and raised in Europe. Nafti and Braham and many players are raised in Europe. And even at that team at that time, and in that team, there were players who are Brazilian. Talking about Clayton and Dos Santos. So it never has been a problem for Tunisians.
who do you think is maybe a player that this player is going to have a good World Cup? If you had to bet money, like, yo, this guy's going to have a good tournament. He's just in the perfect moment. Is there anybody that comes to mind?
Two players for me. First player is Firas Shawat. For those who doesn't know for those who don't know Firas Shawat, Shawat is a striker. He plays in Club Africa. He's a domestic player, and he's the top scorer of the Tunisian league in the second year in a row. Even though he changed the team, so he changed the team in the summer, and he's still the top scorer. And I think that's a big indicator. And now, at this time of the season, he scored as many goals as he scored last season. So he's going. Um, and I think that if Lamouchi could could find maybe the right strategy to make this player comfortable to score goals, I think he will score goals. I think that he could really score goals at at any match in the three games maybe. So I think that Firas Shawat could be a surprise. And as I said, Tunekti. I'm really fan of this player. Tunekti, I think he could do a great World Cup.
So what are Tunisia's floor? In other words, how bad can they be? And what is their ceiling? How good can they be at this World Cup in your estimation? It's not an easy group with Japan and the
I thought.
Netherlands and Sweden
I
somehow
thought.
snuck in there. So what's the floor and what's the ceiling?
Actually, Tunisians are prepared to the scenario that we get knocked out from the group stage. If you talk with any Tunisian now in cafes or in the street, he will tell you, it's okay. I think that we could really get eliminated from the first three matches. We know that this edition of the World Cup of 48 teams is easier to qualify to the second round, but we also know that our group is one of the most difficult groups. You have you don't have really big teams in this group, but you have organized teams like Japan. You have Sweden with all its stars and with teams that are coming from the bottom. We all know how Sweden did qualify; they had 2 points. So teams coming from the bottom, they want to do wonders. And also you have Netherlands which does not have big stars in its team now. So it's not, for example, like Mbappe in France, or it's not like a Harry Kane in England. So they don't have really big names, but also it's an organized team. So Tunisians are prepared, are mentally prepared to the scenario of getting eliminated from the first three matches, and then if we qualify to the second round, it would be great. It would be the first time in the history of the country, and it would be great. But Tunisians really don't expect to go further. I think
Who's your pick to win the World
further
Cup?
further than 4 matches. I don't think that we could do more than 4 matches.
So
If we do, it's okay. I'll be there actually. So if you do, I'll be the happiest to do it.
who's your pick to win the World Cup?
France, definitely France.
Okay.
France. I've been watching France in the last friendly match. It was in the United States against Colombia, and it was with the second team. And if you look to the bench, uh, if you look to the bench, you have Mbappe, you have Chouamini, you have big stars, big names in the bench. And then I've been watching the match and I've been wondering how come that this is the second team, the second squad, and they play with all this automatism, and they play with all this fluidity, with all this easy way. So they are used to playing with each other, and I think that France could be the number one, maybe favorite to go and win this World Cup. I even think that they somehow deserve to win the 2022 maybe World Cup. I'm Barcelona fan and I'm Messi fan, but if we talk about the team, the squad, I think that France is the biggest team in the world now, and also Spain. Also, Spain could do a good job, but I think that France is the number one.
Which African team do you feel is in the best moment to go furthest? Because there's 10.
Yeah, there's 10. Unfortunately for Gennaro Gattuso, there is 10 teams. Uh, I think that I don't think that we will see. I don't think that we will see another team going to the semifinals, another African team that go to the semifinal this time. But I think that Senegal are ready to go far in this competition. Maybe quarterfinals, maybe Senegal. I'm really fan of this team, and also Morocco can do something good. That's it. I don't see any other African team that could do better than the second round match, but more than 4 matches.
Okay. Last
Besides
question. Yeah.
the
No, go.
besides the Senegal and Morocco, who can make it, maybe one of them or both of them can make it to the quarters.
All right. So my last question is usually the same. Is there anything about Tunisian football culture that I didn't ask that you think is important or interesting that people should know?
Many things, many things, many things.
Let's go.
Mm, Many things, but something I always talk about is that the influence of the Italian football on the Tunisian football. Maybe when I talk about people or journalists from other European countries, if even Italians, they're kind of surprised. Actually, historically, Tunisians are influenced with the Italian football, and 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 I think it's funny. So the way it's funny because when we were uh, when we were children in Tunisia in the late 90s, in the 90s and the 2000s, so we could cut with on TV. So we could cut Rayuno channel because Italy is really near to Tunisia. So in the Tunisian TVs in the 90s, you could really watch Rayuno, which is the first television in Italy, and Rayuno. used to broadcast Serie A matches. And you know that Serie A at that time was the biggest league in the world. So most of Tunisians who are born in the 90s or in the 80s are fans of the Italian teams, Milan, Juventus, Inter, Roma also, and some of them even are supporters of Lazio or Lazio, like they say in Italian. So you see, this tradition really influenced football because
Mm.
there were many Italian coaches coming to the Tunisian league, like Scurio and stuff, and Tunisians were really inspired by the Italian way to play football, and we are really inspired by Italian, and we also inspired Italy in many things. So even the food is kind of the same. We eat many pasta here in Tunisia, uh, but the football is worse, right? Because now the football is global and it's the same from Indonesia to Brazil. Unfortunately for me, that's my point of view. But in the late 90s and the 2000s, Tunisia was really influenced by the Italian football, and that's why in Tunisia now we still have good defenders and good defensive midfielders. And most of the players, if you see the map of the players, domestic and local players, Tunisians, who went to go to play in Europe and who really succeeded in their career in Europe, two positions, center backs and defensive midfielders. Ayman Abdenour, he played in Valencia, Marseille, and stuff. He's a center back. Radi Jaidi, he played in the Premier League. He's a center back. Hatem Travinci was the right back. He played in Ajax. Karim Hagi, a legend, an Arab legend of the Bundesliga. He's a center back. So most of the Tunisian players who succeed in Europe are defensive players.
Mm.
And now, Ali Al-Abdi also, he's the left back, Talbi also. So, and now it's the same.
It's funny you mentioned that. My
Yeah.
my French teacher in high school was named Mohamed Jaziri, and he was from
Okay.
Tunisia, and he was also the school's football coach. And he would always talk about Serie A. Like he couldn't
Yeah.
stop talking about it. So
He's a typical Tunisian. He's Tunisian, yes. But now
anyway,
it changed a
yeah.
little bit with, with Barca and Real Madrid and stuff. So nowadays it changed a little bit.
Yeah. So Arafat, I thank you for taking the time to do this. I really appreciate it. One last time, where can people follow you and your work?
They can follow my work in Food24. So Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. YouTube, we do podcasts, we do interviews, we cover games, and we cover international competitions.
Cool. I thank you for doing this, brother.
Thank you. Thank you for the invitation.